After a certain time, people, men and women, when they start living together, or husband and wife, there is, according to biology, a grace period of 3 years of hormonal tolerance, meaning hormones sustain the relationships. Yes. And after 3 years, all these hormones stop working, and that's it. Between people appear this. Basically, nothing holds them together. Alienation. Yes, that's natural thing, right? Probably, maybe in previous times it was a bit different. Today it is so. What they say. Yes. So that's from the man's side. Maybe women. I don't know. Usually women get used to their men. I don't think that women wants to change everything that much. Maybe today it's also a little different with women, but still, I don't think it's in the same form as with men. It's not the fact that somebody wants to change something. The question is that there is no longer a physical factor that was holding them things together. Well, it can be not after 3 days and 3 years, but 3 days. Doesn't what's the question? How can people overcome and continue to live together and exist normally, like husband and wife? People can live normally together, like husband and wife, in general, in our times. Because it's a special time now, which has arrived, the time of correction of egoism. So if they don't deal with the correction of egoism, they will not be able to live together. There will be more divorces, more and more, until there are no more families left. Couples will get together for a few days or a couple of years and then break up. And children are going to be born from God knows who and where, just like that. And the world will come to it because you will not be able to overcome the ego if you don't begin to correct it. And when you begin to correct it, then for the sake of correcting, you will stay with women, because only with her you can correct yourself. You feel that you are a relative soul with it. And then all physical problems or alienations will not be noticeable, because in your physical unity with her, you will feel spiritual unity. And then there won't be any problems. And the world is going toward that. And until it has come to that point, and we are in transitional state, here we are. There is no longer matrimonious as it used to be, and no new form of marriage as it will be in the future. But it will be like that, only for the sake of, and in general, humanity will exist for the sake of correction, ascent, to feel that state. And not this world and not this life. Only for the sake of that. Otherwise, there is no point. People will be suicidal, will do drugs. There will be horrible things in the world. There will be people scavenging on the streets of cities, killing each other and eating each other. But that, let's say, ideally, but people are not ideally at all. I mean, ideal unit. Yes, no, it's not ideal when a person will sense spiritual needs higher than these low corporeal, because they're not going to be worthy of anything in his eyes to even to invest into them. We are going to overcome the state. But in fact, those who actually engage into correction, they're also going through this process. Most of your students, wait, that's how it's going to be. I mean, I'm not saying it exists right now. A person will live for the sake of spiritual attainment, which he will, spiritual life, for the sake of spiritual life, which he will reveal here and now. And the rest is not worth living for. What for?
в этом существовании?
What's the point of such
Ну
existence?
скажи,
Tell me,
насколько в
what's
этом мире
the
человек получает наслаждение
what's the ratio
против
between how much pleasure a person
страдания?
receives against how
Вот
much he suffers? Just look at the balance
и скажи, стоит
sheet
ли
like
жить?
a accountant and tell me if
Когда
it's
ты
worth
каждую
living.
минуту борешься
When
за
every
свое
minute you fight
состояние, существование,
for your
относительный
state, your
комфорт,
existence,
что ты
moderate comfort,
переживаешь,
how you live
как
through
ты
it, how you
добиваешься
achieve for a few
мгновения в
moments
течение дня
some kind
какого-то
of state of
отдохновения, какого-то наслаждения или
recompense,
чего-то, а все
some
остальное
kind of
время ты
joy or
тратишь только
something,
на
and the
что?
rest of the time you
Чтобы
spend on what?
избежать страданий.
To avoid
Как-нибудь.
sufferings somehow.
Разве стоит жить?
So is it worth living then?
Да совершенно не стоит.
It's not worth it.
Никакой здравый смысл
None
не
of the
скажет,
rational mind will tell you that those who live
находится в здравом уме.
are being rational.
Зачем это надо?
What is it for?
Только лишь ради того, чтобы
Only
жить
to
лучше.
ascend toward the higher
А
world.
иначе?
And
А
otherwise?
иначе возьми таблетку и
Otherwise, take a pill and fall asleep. That's all.
без проблем.
What's the problem?
Ты боишься смерти.
Are you afraid of death? Then suffer.
Ты понимаешь, это
You
же,
see,
это же вообще
it's
не,
not
как сказать,
how to say it's
ну,
it's
совершенно
completely
иррационально.
irrational.
Посмотри со стороны на
Look at
наше
our
мир,
world
на наше
from the side,
существование.
at our existence.
Копошатся 7 миллиардов
There are 7 billion
человечков.
tiny
Это плюс
humans
мозги.
s-
Посмотри, что они делают с
swarming in this world. Nevertheless, they are not brainless, but look at what they are doing with their brains and their nature. And moreover, they try to grab on their lives, if you can call it that way.
Поэтому,
Therefore,
когда у человека начнут постепенно раскрываться глаза,
when a
он сделает этот
person's eyes are being opened gradually, he will make that calculation and will say there is no point in this such existence, and the only thing that holds me back is the fear. But I will swallow this thing, and the fear will stop and give me that pill as well. What's the point? Is tomorrow going to be better than today?
еще и старость,
And then there is old age, even bigger sufferings.
когда ты будешь один,
When you're alone, abandoned,
постепенно
dying somewhere in the gradually in cold this
доме престарелых,
nursing
никому
home.
не нужный.
So
Я не знаю.
I don't know.
Люди, которые сделают расчет,
People that will make this calculation, of course, they will only exist for the sake of
чтобы постичь высший мир.
attaining the upper world.
Ну вот среди ваших
But
учеников люди
your
понимают,
students
что понимают,
are
что
people
там
who get
очень
it.
много
They realize where they're going, and there are many couples that are
находятся в каком-то
in some
движении,
type of
разводятся,
action. They
хотя
divorce,
они понимают, что это
though they
важно
realize that it
оставаться
is
вместе.
important to
Вы
stay
делаете
together.
упор на то, что люди
You make
должны
it
быть
clear
женаты
that
вместе. Как
people
вообще
have to be
наладить
married and stay together.
взаимоотношения?
How to
Никак
get
не
the
наладишь. К сожалению,
relationship straight? You can't patch it up.
Это проблема.
It's a problem, unfortunately.
Это проблема.
It's a problem.
У каждого в жизни
Everyone
свои
has
приключения.
his own adventures in lives, and we are in transitional period, and therefore we can't do anything. We ourselves are not Kabbalists
Я
yet.
говорю в общем,
I'm speaking generally about our movement.
ощущающий высший мир,
Those who
и
sense the
отдающий
upper
себе
world,
отчет о том,
or who
что
realize
действительно
that
только ради него
indeed
стоит
only
жить.
for the sake of that it is worth living. There are ascents and descents happen, and we live only for the sake of attaining the upper world. But nevertheless, within it, we're trying to grab something for our own ego. That's how it
У меня
turns out
четкое
to be.
направление.
I have a
Не
clear
разводиться ни в
direction.
коем
Under
случае.
any circumstances,
Семья
not
—
to
это
divorce.
семья.
Family is a
Ты
family.
обязан
You are
заботиться о ней.
obligated to take care of it,
Что бы ни было.
no matter what.
Всё.
That's all.
Ты женился,
You're
у тебя
married,
есть дети,
you have kids,
значит, ты обязан.
that means you're obligated.
Я считаю, что тогда
I think that's how a man should think.
без всяких,
Without anything in
дополнений
addition
от
from
духовного
his spiritual
состояния.
states.